but we'll go through this and then we'll move on with our lives. Okay. So the one thing that we want, or one thing that we wanted to do today with this committee is review that lovely guide that was created. And part of the reason I wanted to do that is because we talked in our last couple of meetings with this group and then with the directors as well about kind of reconsidering what the goals of these committees are and how to make them, quite a bit more useful for the network and how to make them more useful for the members. And also talked about, potentially inviting in and opening these up to the larger network of after school providers in the state as well, which I think would be good for everyone. Brings in new partners, brings in new ideas and all that kind of jazz. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up the partner guide. And for those of you who might be watching on video, we'll do this for your benefit, but then we're also going to share this guide out in the summary email so you can look at it at your leisure. Sorry, just a moment. I seem to have lost the screen with it on there. Hang on here just a second while I pull that up. All right. Here we go. Okay, here it is. Our Communication Sustainability and Partnerships Committee Guide that was created by this committee some time ago. It's really comprehensive and good. And what we're wanting to do is just take a look at the goals and get feedback from this committee about which goals we'd like to keep, if we want to make some adjustments, that kind of thing. So the mission statement of this committee is keep current with the 2-1 CCLC activities and best practice examples occurring across the state and communicate examples of high quality after school programming on a regular basis. And so it's that communication piece that I think we've discussed recently in the last couple of meetings that we really want to capitalize on. And so these are the goals as they stand right now. To provide resources and support regarding the topics of communication, sustainability, and local partnerships, to continually share best practices, to collaborate to resolve issues experienced by individual sites or statewide, to bridge communication between all 2-1 CCLC committees, which we might want to discuss because we've talked in previous committees about how the IAA might be taking more of an active role of that piece and taking it off of the committee chairperson shoulders, and assist in providing resources or meeting needs expressed by other 2-1 CCLC committees. And there's just a website link to this guide on our website. So I guess while we've got Joe and Keely here too, of course, any thoughts just off the top of your head, and it's okay if not, but any thoughts off the top of your head on the goals of this committee, on anything that is standing out to you as like, yes, that's really something that we need to beef up, or you know what, this doesn't belong here. What do you think? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I definitely was not present for some meetings to as we discussed this.
Yeah.
As a site, the sustainability piece has been something that I really wanted to focus more on, especially like years 3, 4, 5. And
Okay.
so, um, I think that best practices could encompass some of that sustainability piece. But if
Mm-hmm.
our vision is that this committee is more communications, marketing, partnership support, then maybe we need to look at changing the name to not include the sustainability piece.
Mm-hmm. Like it might be trying to tackle too many things within the same committee.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think communications itself and providing support on like what best practices are happening and being like, I'm gonna go back to like the marketing side of things. Seems to be
Mhm.
like the direction that those goals state towards is like highlighting all the great things that are happening throughout the state in these after school
Mhm.
programs and before school and summer. And sustainability maybe doesn't fit as well into that if the goal is more the celebration side of things,
Mhm.
building the
Mhm.
connections. I know that technically building those connections is how you build sustainability. And so it's
Yeah.
like a lag, you know?
Yeah,
I just,
I think that was the thought process when this, I can't say for sure because I wasn't around when the actual committee was created, but I think that was the thought process is like the idea is that the partnerships are the
part of,
sustainability piece, right?
yeah.
But I think we all know for those of us who have been around for more than 3 years or so, it's sustainability is a huge issue and it's not happening necessarily with
Yeah.
partners, right?
It almost could be its own breakout committee of like fiscal management and sustainability.
Yeah.
And a component of that is creating really strong partnerships. But that
Mhm.
could be a neither here nor there. I just noticed as we look at the goals that the sustainability piece isn't really in there as part of
Right.
the name of the committee. And I
Yep.
don't know if we have a whole lot of goals related to like partnerships either. So,
Hmm.
if this is more just the communications committee, maybe that's something that we need to look at a future meeting is that
Hmm.
what's the vision of this community committee? Or should there be a goal that involves, strengthening, like helping local 21st century sites create and strengthen partnerships? Like, should that be part of our goal is to talk about partners and help be more
Hmm.
of the guide there? But I
Right.
don't
And
think we have.
is that needed? Like, is that a needed, if we're talking about what, when we bring people together with limited amounts of time, for action and to bring people together, like, what are the things or what are the topics that are really essential, to be meeting around?
Right,
And, perhaps this is the time for for the larger group of directors to have a conversation about, is it partnerships? Is
right,
it fiscal management and sustainability? Is it that we want a communications and marketing team that's like, helping us put together pieces of advocacy, work
right,
and that kind of stuff.
right.
And Joe too. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe, it's you will direct us which way you want us to go too, but I know you're open to feedback from the group.
Yeah, it's a good discussion. I think there's some different ways you could go, but I know Heidi and I have been talking about kind of the resource development component and kind of leveraging some of their marketing expertise out of the Horizon Group and um, I like writing stuff like that too, like toolkits, best
Yeah.
practices, because we get those questions a lot, right? And they're not, a lot of what the Department of Ed has in this area is like compliance and this and that. So I'd like to see a lot more of, yeah, best practice sharing and resources of kind of how-tos and stuff like that. So something that hopefully we get a chance to work on together in the near future here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, Keely, not to put you on the spot, but what do you think? Like, if you had to say, if you had to say, as a director of a site, which of these components would really be the most beneficial for you, what would you think?
So we have a marketing director for our school district. So a lot of the marketing side of things I send the information on to our marketing team and then they market. So that
Mm-hmm.
I don't need support on. Communications, I think that the best practice of like how do people do their newsletters and things, it's like a one-off uh,
Yep.
or a breakout session at an impact conference.
Mm-hmm.
And with like, if you had templates that people could then plug and play with, I think that that could be again a good use of quick time and not necessarily a constant thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that some fiscal management's always helpful when you're the director and also like in the trenches with program, because you're like, yes, of course we can spend this. And then you get to your fourth quarter and you're like,
Yep.
ha,
I didn't spend it. Yeah.
ha. And so
Yeah.
I think that that's something that could be more helpful so people are on there. But again, like we have a business manager whose job is also sometimes check and balance. I mean, she checks with me occasionally. I
Mhm.
do think though, as far as support in um communications and like the management side of things, I think there could be more. So like emphasizing the importance of like stakeholders and stakeholders committees, and I think there could be some directions you could go, focusing on communications, and um, again then partnerships falls into stakeholders, and um, so I don't know if I just talked in a circle, but
Oh,
I'm trying
no.
to give like my thoughtful feedback on things. I just know that throughout the year, I think that we could have done a better job in our program of communicating with families, communicating with the community,
Mhm.
um, and I think that we could review other groups, how they staff their programs to look at becoming more sustainable with
Mhm.
our workforce, because
Mhm.
that takes up so much of our grant dollars, which then limits some of the opportunities that we're able to give to the kids.
Yeah.
And so I think that that could be something important for us to talk about. And um, so I think as far as like the goals that are listed that I saw for communications, I think that those are all worthwhile if that's if that is the point of this committee. Uh,
Mhm.
but it would kind of not involve so much directly the sustainability partnership side.
Right. Right.
There's my
Yeah.
wraparound.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I'm just thinking as far as like you said, you have a marketing director. Not everyone has that, but what everyone does have is access to us at IAA. And we have those tools too. And like to your point of potentially the creation of some toolkits or one-off kind of things about how people do their newsletter, that to me, I agree with you, like that's potentially a best practice webinar, series or something like that.
hmm
And then those templates can live on the website for everyone to use them, that kind of thing. So
And that's this committee could be like the little like powerhouse of
yeah,
like, this is the direction we want to go with tools. Like we want to be able to have a newsletter template. We want to have
right,
handbook template. We want to focus on like all print and like video communications and like
right,
how to support people. And then it could be that we have a goal for like advocacy, like how do you contact people? I mean,
exactly.
we could go that direction.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. And then it's kind of what we've been talking about. It becomes less of a committee really and more of like an action group
Yeah.
around a set of, specific kind of product that we're creating, right?
Yeah.
So then you get the people who really like to make that kind of stuff. And that's the people that you get around this. And then we meet on our own timeline or whatever, like, hey, we're going to make this toolkit about this, about how to build a newsletter. We're going to meet 4 times to do that. And then at the end of that, we have this product that we can then share with the network, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is good.
I think that'd be something worthwhile getting other directors' feedback on for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Joe, if it's okay with you, I can put it on our agenda for next Friday.
Sure. Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'm just gonna I think I will halt going through the rest of this guide for right now, because we can, we can look at this on our, you can look at this on your own, and we can, of course, share it with everybody. But it's interesting what we just talked about, Keely, because the other things on this agenda kind of feed into what we were just talking about. So I'm going to pull that up quickly here. And so, yeah, the other things that we wanted to talk about today, of course, were partnerships. So, proposals and exhibitors are still being accepted for the Impact After School Conference. We're probably going to, well, I'm not sure yet, but we're most likely going to need to extend the call for presenters out a little bit. Right now, the cutoff is July 11. I'm feeling like that's potentially a little too early. But what we wanted to do was put to this committee, but also, I guess, put to the directors at large, like, we would like you guys to be reaching out to your partners and the people that you work with in your network areas, to come and be part of this conference. And whether that is by sharing a session about something, really cool that they do with you and your program and your region, your area, or something that's being able to be offered statewide, or if it's, something that they can exhibit on, we would love to have them there that way as well. And I think, one thing that Joe and I were talking about yesterday is, over the last 12 years, we've gotten, not so much in the last couple of years, but we have a tendency maybe to kind of have the same sessions, this may potentially some of the same presenters that come back year after year. And while that's great, and some of it's really necessary, and people want to go year after year, it's also nice to get some fresh stuff happening at the conference too. And I think, utilizing the networks that each of you guys have as directors in your areas of the state to get some get some new things happening at the conference would be wonderful. And so that was what I wanted to talk about here, but I'm gonna probably put that on the director agenda as well to talk to everybody about. And then I'm going to shoot it over to Adriana to talk about the program showcase, because this really feeds into what Keely, you were talking about earlier, as far as like, you have that marketing, team at your school district, but for those partners that don't have it, we already have some tools available, and this is one of them. So, Adriana, do I need to give you sharing capability, or can I just
You
click
can
on
just
this?
open it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So I made a kind of version of this for the day on the hill. I wish more programs would have taken advantage of it, but now we're able to turn it
Rolling it out.
into, yeah, some sort of directory and gathering information. I feel like there's plenty of times where a grant provider will come to me and say, "Who do you have in this area?" And we're able to give them, our 21st century sites, but we don't know all of the programs in the area if they're not funded through 21st century funds. And so created this spotlights type form. It's pretty generic, but the reason is that I don't want to make it hard for everybody to fill it out. And so there's even a part at the beginning, like if you already have this one pager or if you already have this on your website, send that to me because I can create this profile out of those options. I kept the piece about the legislators in there because I think that's going to be important as we keep moving forward in our advocacy for after school. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna send this out to, I'll include this in our next newsletter. Um, and sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Um, include it in our next newsletter, but then also try to encourage other programs to fill it out. So that way we can have that information on our end, but also that gives you a chance. Like if I know that information about other programs, I'm able to highlight that or able to connect different partners, statewide. And so, yeah, that is something that we'll be asking programs to do soon.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity for us to use our social media to highlight different programs and what you're doing, and then we can add those to our website. And there has been times too, I think we can share with the group that like if we have someone come to us and say, "Hey, we have some local grants in this region, like who can we connect with that might be interested in applying that kind of thing," then it's a good way for us to say, well, these are the sites that are happening and what they're doing, and you can reach out directly to them. So that is, I think, the first step in potentially helping those groups that maybe don't have as much infrastructure around doing their own communication pieces and if they say, hey, we don't have a one pager, well, this is the first intake, of data that we can have that we can potentially help them create a one pager for themselves or that kind of thing.
I also regularly see things for certain counties, and I just wish I had the full list of people that I could just send them to and be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is going on in your county. Apply, or let us know how we can help support, or do we all get together and apply, with IAA and these individuals in that county? Like, I think some additional partnerships could come out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, including 21st century
Yeah, yep.
programs. Yeah, absolutely.
How many? I'm just thinking kind of out loud. I was thinking I don't think I have a list of all the school districts that have after school programs.
Hmm. Yeah, we got pretty close in 2023 with our state of after school survey. Well, I think we got pretty close.
Okay.
We can only know what we got
Right.
back. We got information back from 79 of their 99 counties. Um,
Okay.
and here's another little piece of thought for you, Joe. We've been trying, and we should probably pick up the thread again, but with HHS, when folks put
Mhm.
in information for their childcare
Mhm.
locations, we've been trying to get them to add a little box that says we provide school age after school care too.
Yeah.
And if we could end up getting that at some point, that could be really really helpful. So
Okay.
and that's something that we talked to Ryan Page about, and to her credit, it's been in the works, for a long time with updates to their systems and that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
uh, it's certainly a possibility, but no, I don't. There to your point, there isn't a comprehensive list of every school district that offers after school programs in Iowa.
Hmm.
That was kind of the point of the state of after school in Iowa in 2023 that we did.
Yeah.
And I think we got probably as close as anybody has gotten.
Yeah. I might try to explore that a little bit. I'm just wondering if there's any data that gets reported that would at least kind of allude strongly to it somehow,
Uh-huh.
if not directly, like an
Right.
obscure amount of data or, something odd that we collect. We collect so much data, and
Yeah.
Keely knows that, but a ridiculous amount of data, and it probably gets buried in different ways. But I might reach out to our data team and see if they have any
Okay.
thoughts.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Please, yeah.
Because
I know
Very
I'm
when
just
I
nice.
even thinking from a grant perspective, it would, get word out to all of those programs that have um, that might be able to apply. You know,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially if we
uh,
can if we can narrow it down to those that are potentially already doing something and they meet the qualifications,
hmm
like, hey, have you heard about this?
right. Yeah, and I don't know if Vic ever reached out to superintendents. They're generally pretty good, but that's pretty high up. It gets kind of gummed up sometimes and doesn't make it
Yeah.
down.
I did
Yeah.
I did send emails to all of the principals I could find in
Okay.
the state of Iowa. I sent them out just like a, hey, here's Iowa After School Alliance. Here's some resources. Please pass this to whomever does your after school
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in case you didn't know, there's public, I know superintendents are public.
Principals are
Yeah.
public too. That's the list I
Oh, is it
use.
in there?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
you.
the superintendents, we have uh 2 years ago maybe we went to the superintendent conference.
Hmm.
But to your point, Joe, I don't know that it was super like beneficial because you're right. They were like,
Yeah.
it was maybe a step too high for us. Like for you, maybe not, because coming from
Yeah.
Department of Ed. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the last thing I had was that we were gonna make everybody do that little feedback survey on the goals, but Keely, I'm not gonna make you do it on your own. We'll share it with the rest of the team next Friday. Um, and that's really all I had, but I think we made kind of a lot of progress today with just the four of us, so I'm feeling good about our next steps. Um, anything else? Keely, anything you need from us or that we can do? Are you doing summer program this year? You're not. No. You look bummed about that. Are you bummed about that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Nothing that needs to be recorded forever.
Oh,
So.
that's true. We should turn that off. I'm gonna turn it off. You don't have to talk about it, but I'm gonna turn the recording